My husband passed away suddenly. My mother-in-law says it's my fault.
Oh my goodness.
A few days ago, I lost my husband. I still cannot believe it. I'm still hoping that I'll wake up tomorrow and realize it was all just a bad dream. He came back from work the other day, and after being at home for half an hour or so, he suddenly collapsed. By the way, this comes from Lunda. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, of course, I called the emergency number immediately, and they sent an ambulance to our house. They told me to give him CPR, but even though I tried, I probably didn't do it properly because I never learned it. But also, I'm pretty sure like the statistics of people successfully doing CPR are pretty low. It's not your fault, is my point. You know, my husband basically passed away in my arms. It happened so fast, it was a matter of minutes. Then the ambulance arrived only to confirm his passing. Then the police came too and asked me a lot of questions. The medics took the body away and they told me an autopsy would be required because there was no obvious reason for his passing. I agreed, of course. Even if they hadn't said it was necessary, I would have requested it myself because I had to know why it happened. In my head, nothing made sense because he was just 23 years old. He was young, he was healthy. I couldn't imagine any reason that would make him just passed away. After they all left, I was in a state of shock. It felt as if I was losing my mind. I cried, I talked to myself, talked to God, even though I've never been religious. Then I pulled myself together enough to call my mother-in-law and tell her what happened. My mother-in-law has never liked me. From the moment we got introduced to each other, she didn't like me. I have no idea what I did to make her hate me. I've always been polite to her, so I don't know what her problem is. I know she tried to talk my husband out of marrying me, and after we married, she had as little contact as possible with us. When I told her, she couldn't believe it at first, and then she started to blame me. She was yelling that it's my fault, that I unalived her son, that she's going to make me pay for it.
Oh my gosh.
I never thought that she'd support or comfort me, but I also wasn't expecting something like this. The next day, a doctor contacted me and told me that the first results of the autopsy revealed the cause of his passing, a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that had blocked the main pulmonary artery. The doctor basically told me that my husband had no chance.
Oh my gosh.
I could have done nothing, and even if the ambulance had been right there with us, they could have done nothing either. I got a copy of the results and called mother-in-law again. We agreed that she'd come to my house that evening to talk about the funeral and everything. She arrived and she had the police with her. We live in a quite small town with only one police station, and those were the same officers who came to my house the day it happened. They remembered me, and mother-in-law started telling me that I was an unaliver, that I unalived her son, that I planned it all. She really thought they would arrest me. I showed the police the copy of the autopsy, and they tried to explain to mother-in-law that I didn't do anything, that her son passed away from a medical condition that no one could have caused. She started arguing that they shouldn't believe that paper, that anyone could fake and print such document these days. The officers were really nice to me, told me not to worry, and then left because obviously there hadn't been a crime. Mother-in-law was furious about it and swore that she'd put me in prison one day. I'm not worried about her words because I know I'm innocent and the authorities know it. The next thing is the funeral. My husband and I never really talked about death because we were young and we weren't planning to pass away anytime soon. However, I remembered that we attended a funeral last year and my husband said he'd like to be cremated instead of buried when he passed away. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'll cremate him. Mother-in-law wants to give him a traditional burial, and she started yelling at me again when I said he'd be cremated instead. She was like, "Oh, you just want to get rid of the body so there would be no more evidence, right? You planned this."
This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Imagine this tragedy happening. And then there's just this, like, you can't even wrap your head around what has happened. And now you're getting blamed for this.
Totally unacceptable. To give the mother unexcusable, she is also going through what I can imagine, terrible, terrible grief. But that doesn't mean that you have to put up with this. So I feel like just blocking her number, saying like, here, this is the date of the funeral. This is what's going to be happening.
I'm glad that the police know the truth of the situation and that nothing is actually going to happen to OP because of the accusations.
Yeah, I think you just let her know what's going to be happening to her son. Give her those details and, don't respond to anything else because you don't deserve that. However she's going through her grieving process should not, affect you. She also said that she's a Christian and that Christians don't cremate anyone, that it's wrong, and that a person has to return to the ground that God made them from. That's complete BS to me. I won't give in to this at all. If he wanted to be cremated, he will be cremated, and that's it. That's the last thing I can do for him. If she wants to bury something so badly, she can bury the ashes. She's also reproaching me that I allowed them to butcher her son, meaning the autopsy. I was like, what do you mean butcher? That was a necessary procedure. You don't want to know what your son passed away from? Weird. Yeah, I mean, she's accusing you of having something to do with it, and then you get proof, and she's like, well, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, what?
I don't even have the time to mourn. I've to organize the funeral, and I've to fight with her because she's interfering with everything. The music, the place, the coffin. She even didn't want several people to come, and I was like, no, it's a funeral. Everyone who wants to say goodbye to him is welcome, and I won't push anyone away. I've had this huge pressure on me. She's still accusing me. She believes that her son would have lived if he hadn't married me, that he passed away because of the life with me. I understand that she's hurt. She's a mother and she's lost her son, but I don't deserve this attitude. I loved him too. I don't know how I'll manage the funeral with her being there. And I also just wanted to remind you guys, cherish your loved ones. Tell them every day how much you love them, how much they mean to you. Never take them for granted because one moment they're here and the next moment they might be gone. We were married for 2 years only. He was the love of my life, and I thought that we were going to grow old together. But unfortunately, something greater than us had other plans. And there is an update. So sad.
This is so sad. Oh my God.
I think that you have to go to therapy, one. I really hope that you have some other support systems here. Like if there's any possible way that you have like parents or friends or something that could talk to the mother-in-law instead of you having to do it that directly.
Right. And you having to be like the only one that's dealing with her.
Yeah. Because this is just unacceptable behavior.
Yeah. I wonder if there's still a father-in-law in the picture. If there was, that would probably be like the best person to go to.
Any other family member that they have that you can say, hey, I'm going to send you this information over. I don't want to talk to her though. Update. I finally found the time to make a small update about what's going on in my life after I recently lost my husband and had many problems with my mother-in-law. I'd also like to thank everyone for your kind words and advice and all the support I've received in my previous post and in my private messages. I've never thought that strangers could comfort me that much. The funeral was really hard for me, even though it went fine, if you can say that about a funeral. It turned out to be bigger than I had planned because many people loved my husband and wanted to say goodbye to him. The funeral director was amazing, very patient and helpful. One of the police officers who came to my house the day my husband passed away was also there. I explained the whole situation with my mother-in-law to him and asked if he could watch over the funeral in case she decided to start a scene. He was so nice that even though I was willing to pay him, he refused to accept any money from me. He said it didn't feel right to make a business out of something so tragic. Mother-in-law was also there, but fortunately, she didn't make a scene. She didn't yell or do anything inappropriate. However, she was glaring at me the entire time, whispering to some other women, obviously talking badly about me. Still, she didn't try to ruin the funeral. I guess she realized that it was the last time she could see her son, so she held back because she knew I'd throw her out the moment she started anything. The cremation took about 2 hours. During that time, I approached mother-in-law to talk about what we were going to do with the remains. I wanted to reach out to her and take her wishes into consideration since he was her son. I remembered that she wanted a burial instead of cremation, and I understood that she might want a place where she could come, put flowers, or just sit and remember him. So I asked her what she'd like to do with the ashes and offered to bury them if she wanted. What she said next made me realize that I never, ever wanted to speak to her again. She turned to me and said, "Shove them up your butt."
Oh, wow.
How can you just be such a despicable person after your son passes away?
Like, come on. Even if you're just trying to, like, insult, like, OP, this is still your son that you're suggesting.
That's your son's ashes.
Oh, my goodness.
Then she continued, saying that she would make my life a living heck, that I'd never be able to sleep peacefully again, and that she would make sure I got the punishment I deserve for unaliving her son. She's just delusional. She asked how I even dared to speak to her. I was like, if I really unalived my husband, don't you think I'd be arrested already? The police told her I was innocent. The doctors told her I was innocent. The autopsy report said I was innocent. If she doesn't believe professionals, then I don't know what to tell her. I have no idea what I've done to her, because you don't hate someone out of thin air. You need a reason. All I ever did was love her son. I mean, yes, you need a reason, but sometimes with crazy people, they don't really need a reasonable reason.
Yeah, they're gonna come up with problems and create their own reasons, and especially with someone who's in crazy denial of this happening, or whatever you would call this, I guess. I don't know what stage of grief this would fall into. Especially when someone's in this state of mind, it's like there's not any reason coming into play here at all.
Since she refused to do anything with the ashes, I have them with me now. I don't know what I'll do with them yet. I like the ideas from my previous post about jewelry or planting a tree, but I haven't decided. Now that everything is over, it seems she has decided to turn the whole town against me. When I return home today, my next door neighbor, a very nice elderly lady, approached me. She told me that people were saying horrible things about me. Like I said before, I lived in a small town where everyone knows everything about everyone. I hated it here, and my husband hated it too. We were saving money to move to a big city where no one would know us. My husband was 23, I'm 25, and I'm already attracting attention as the youngest widow they've seen in a long time. In small towns, rumors spread like wildfire. My neighbor told me that people were saying I unalived my husband, that I bribed the police, and that's why I wasn't arrested. People don't know how bribes work.
This is crazy.
I'm sorry, you can't just bribe the police for unaliving. They claimed mother-in-law came to my house and found medicine that causes blood to clot abnormally, which is how my husband supposedly got his embolism. They say he was cremated just to get rid of all the evidence. They even claimed I had been hitting him all the time, just complete lies. I think most people don't believe it, but there are definitely some who do. Of course, such rumors don't start by themselves. Someone has to spread them, and I can only imagine one person who would want to do this, mother-in-law. I can't prove anything, but she did say she'd make my life miserable, and that's exactly what she's doing. I'm planning to move anyway. I don't want to live in this house anymore because everything here reminds me of the day my husband passed away, and it's really hard for me. But it's still disgusting that she's making people think I'm an unaliver. And then there's some news. This time something more pleasant, okay? Once the funeral was over, I tried to return to my everyday life. I realized my period was late. At first, I thought it was because of all the stress I had been through over the past weeks, but it turns out that I'm pregnant. I'm having mixed feelings about this. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm happy because now it doesn't feel like my husband is completely gone. I'm going to have a part of him. I know he would have been happy too. He passed away without even knowing we were going to have a child. But this is my first pregnancy and I'm really scared. I don't know what to expect. I'm worried I won't be a good mother, that I won't make it through birth, that I won't know how to take care of a baby. I've never even held one before. I also didn't know I was pregnant, so I drank a few glasses of wine at the meal after the funeral. Now I'm terrified that I might have seriously hurt the baby. You have not. Drinking a couple glasses of wine is not going to hurt your baby. Don't worry. It's more about drinking a lot of wine while you're pregnant. And now the question is, do I tell mother-in-law about the baby? Should I tell her that I'm expecting her grandchild? Honestly, no.
Yeah, at this point, especially not this early.
Yeah, I'm incredibly worried that she's going to try and do the grandparents' rights thing. Leave the town. The thing is that you don't want to have any contact with her anyway. So, like, what would telling her about the child do other than her trying to take custody?
Maybe when you're like much further along in the pregnancy or something, just kind of like telling like the whole family on his side or something like that. I don't know. I mean, especially not this early because you wouldn't want to do it this early anyway. But oh my goodness. Yeah, she's definitely going to try something crazy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to wait until you've got like a solid job, place to live, so she can't say anything. I cannot hate for a long time. I'm just not that kind of person. I don't expect it to make our relationship any better, but if I move away to live somewhere else, she'll never know that she has a grandchild. But it's the child of her son. She's the grandmother, and maybe she should have the rights to know about the existence of her grandchild. Whether or not she wants to be in their life would be her choice. And wouldn't it be unfair to the child to prohibit them from knowing her? I've no parents anymore, so she's their only living grandparent. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left of the story. I mean, maybe later she deserves to know, but you got to be so careful because I think if she found out now, she would absolutely try and get grandparents' rights and take your baby away.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to find some sort of like support group or something, people that can help you, especially if you don't have any parents anymore, if you don't have like much family at all. Maybe like find people that can be there for you and support you and be in this journey with you, and then establish that, and then maybe tell her. Hopefully you have enough money to also move away to do that, but you know, babies are expensive, so who knows. But wow, oh my goodness.
But again, like, she's been really awful to you. So I think realizing that her finding out will not improve your relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Like, if you guys already decided to cut no contact, like before he passed away or anything like that, then she wouldn't need to know about the baby that way. So I think it could work the same way.
She didn't want to be a part of your life when you're partner was alive. So from the other side, she's been treating me so horribly and she's been so mean to me that I honestly don't want anything to do with her. Also, I'm worried that she might tell the child the same thing she's been telling the whole town, that I unalived their dad. I don't want her to put those lies in their head. My friend said that with this attitude, she doesn't deserve a grandchild. What would you say? And there are some comments. Comment 1 says she deserves nothing. What a horrible, cruel person. I'm so sorry for your loss and that you can't grieve properly due to her antics. She doesn't deserve to know her grandchild, and I hope your child brings you comfort in these trying times. I know I lost my fiance when I was 21 in a motorcycle accident and subsequently the child I was carrying 2 months later. Take care of yourself now. That is what's most important. Bless you. Please post when you can and let us know how you are. I'll be thinking of you. And that is the end of the story.
Oh my goodness, so many tragedies.
But at the end of the day, prioritize you and your baby's health. Anything that would bring you stress, do not do.
That will cause complications. But oh my goodness, what a crazy story.